International travel is becoming more accessible than ever, with millions of people crossing borders each year for business, education, family visits, or tourism. As countries modernize their immigration systems to keep up with the demands of global mobility, travelers expect entry procedures that are not only secure but also convenient and efficient. One system that reflects this balance of security and convenience is Canada's Electronic Travel Authorization, or eTA. This digital pre-screening tool has made it easier for travelers from visa-exempt countries to visit Canada, reducing paperwork and wait times while improving security. In this journey, many are asking, should Brazil be included in Canada's eTA program? This guide explores why Brazil needs an eTA to travel to Canada, what benefits it would bring for Brazilian citizens, and how this system could positively impact both countries economically, diplomatically, and culturally. What is an eTA? Canada's Electronic Travel Authorization, or eTA, is a streamlined digital system that allows travelers from visa-exempt countries to enter Canada for short stays, typically up to 6 months, for tourism, business, or transit. It's an online form that takes only a few minutes to complete, usually costs just $7 Canadian, and is valid for 5 years or until the passport expires. Unlike a traditional visa, the eTA doesn't require an in-person interview, fingerprinting, or lengthy approval times. Instead, it allows Canadian authorities to pre-screen travelers electronically, improving border security while reducing administrative workload. Currently, Brazilian citizens must apply for a visitor visa to enter Canada. While this system functions effectively, it is often slower, more expensive, and more complicated, especially for short-term or frequent travelers. Subscribe for more adventures. Why Brazil needs an eTA. Growing travel demand between Brazil and Canada. Brazil and Canada share robust diplomatic and cultural ties with increasing travel between the two nations. According to tourism data, thousands of Brazilians travel to Canada annually for tourism to explore Canadian landmarks like Niagara Falls, Banff National Park, and Toronto, business to attend conferences or collaborate with Canadian companies, education to enroll in short courses or language programs. With Brazil being one of the largest economies in Latin America and one of the most travel-active nations, there's a strong case to streamline travel for Brazilian citizens through a simplified system like the eTA. Improving accessibility and convenience. Currently, Brazilian travelers must apply for a visitor visa, also known as a temporary resident visa, to enter Canada. This process can include long processing times, sometimes taking weeks or even months. Additionally, it often requires in-person biometrics or interviews, higher fees, and extensive documentation. An eTA would eliminate many of these hurdles for eligible travelers. Imagine Brazilian tourists being able to apply online, pay a small fee, and get approval within minutes, all without leaving home. This kind of accessibility makes Canada a far more attractive destination for both planned and spontaneous travel. Faster and more affordable travel. Affordability is a key benefit of the eTA. While a Canadian visitor visa typically costs $100 Canadian or more, an eTA only costs $7 Canadian. That's a 93% cost reduction, which is substantial for individual travelers, students, and families. In addition, the eTA is linked directly to the traveler's passport and remains valid for multiple entries over 5 years. That means frequent travelers between Brazil and Canada could avoid repeated visa applications and associated fees, making short trips and business visits far more convenient. Better support for business and innovation. Canada and Brazil enjoy a healthy business relationship, with increasing collaboration in sectors like energy, finance, technology, and agriculture. Brazilian entrepreneurs, investors, and professionals often travel to Canada for short-term business meetings, trade expos, or investment missions. Introducing an eTA for Brazilian business travelers would enable quicker, on-demand travel for meetings or negotiations, foster new opportunities for trade and partnerships, and encourage innovation exchange between two growing economies. By reducing bureaucratic delays, an eTA system would support faster and more efficient business operations, benefiting both countries. Boosting educational and cultural exchange. Canada is one of the top study destinations for Brazilian students. From language immersion programs in Montreal to tech boot camps in Vancouver, short-term educational visits are increasingly popular. However, the current visa requirements may deter some students who might otherwise consider Canada. With an eTA, students could participate in short-term courses or summer programs with ease. families visiting their children studying in Canada could travel more freely. Exchange programs would become more attractive to Brazilian schools and universities. Cultural events, festivals, and sporting activities would also benefit from an easier travel system, allowing more artists, athletes, and performers to take part in Canada's multicultural calendar. Implementing an eTA system for Brazilian citizens would not only benefit Brazil, it would be a strategic move for Canada too. Boosting tourism revenue. Brazil is a massive and rapidly growing travel market. Making it easier for Brazilians to visit Canada could result in a significant tourism boost, especially as more middle-class Brazilians seek international destinations. Visitors spend money on hotels, dining, tours, shopping, and local transportation. Every Brazilian traveler contributes to Canada's economy, especially in key cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. The more accessible Canada is, the more travelers will come. Improving border efficiency and security. The eTA system doesn't compromise on security, it enhances it. By screening travelers before they arrive, Canadian authorities can identify high-risk individuals and allow low-risk travelers to pass through more efficiently. With thousands of Brazilian travelers applying for visas each year, switching to a digital pre-screening model would reduce the administrative burden on embassies and border agents, improving efficiency without sacrificing safety. Enhancing diplomatic and trade relations. Offering eTA eligibility to Brazil would signal a strengthening of diplomatic trust. It would place Brazil alongside other visa-exempt countries and highlight Canada's recognition of Brazil as a strategic partner in the Americas. This move could open the door for enhanced trade talks, visa reciprocity, and bilateral cooperation on key issues like climate change, education, and technology. Addressing concerns. Who would still need a visa? It's important to note that even with an eTA system in place, some Brazilian travelers would still need to apply for a full visa. For example, those intending to work or study long-term in Canada. Individuals with a history of immigration issues or criminal records. Travelers who don't meet standard eligibility requirements. However, the vast majority of Brazilian tourists, business visitors, and transit passengers would benefit from the speed and simplicity of the eTA. How would the eTA work for Brazilians? If implemented, the process for Brazilian travelers would look like this. Visit the official Canadian government eTA site, complete the online application, including passport, personal, and travel details, pay the $7 fee, receive approval, often within minutes, and board a flight to Canada with confidence. The eTA would then be valid for up to 5 years, covering multiple entries as long as the passport remains valid. Looking ahead, a digital future for travel. As Canada continues to update its travel and immigration policies, moving toward digital-first, paperless systems like the eTA is a logical step. For Brazil, a country with a fast-growing middle-class and tech-savvy population, the eTA represents more than a travel document. It's a gateway to global connection, opportunity, and cultural exchange. Final thoughts. Introducing an eTA for Brazilian citizens is a win-win proposition. It makes travel to Canada more accessible, affordable, and efficient for Brazilian tourists, students, and business professionals. At the same time, it helps Canada strengthen its ties with Brazil, enhance tourism and economic collaboration, and modernize its border control system. By simplifying the journey between two vibrant and diverse nations, the eTA would open doors to new relationships, shared experiences, and lasting connections. Subscribe for more adventures. Happy travels!